I've gone over 470 plus days on nofap and even cured my corn-induced ED, which I had for 6 years in 1 week. And this is the brutally honest advice I wish someone gave me at the start of this nofap journey. Number one, if you don't change, nothing changes. Now, it's easy to look at your life and expect, right, that just because, I have a certain bad habit that I'm into today, I keep relapsing, all of that, that things will change tomorrow, right? And we have this optimism that things are just going to change and magically work, right? And a lot of times you put off, right, the painful things that you really need to look at in your life to the side, right? And a lot of times what you need to realize is that you can't keep the same routines, right? And with those routines, if you're constantly relapsing, comes the same triggers and obviously the same mindset, and you expect a different result, which is literally only insane people do. So what happens is you go, time over time, and you're stuck in the same place, right? And if you don't change, if you don't take action today, if you don't really, you know, think about the position that you're in and take observation of where you're at, things will never be different for you. Number two, the ladder of losses gets worse. Now, this one is hard for people to conceptually understand because it's really over time how things happen. So, initially, right, someone gets introduced to this bad habit, right? They're on the adult websites, whatever. And what happens is, what does it start with, right? It starts very innocent. You're wasting time. We can just look at it in terms of what you lose, right? So you're wasting time, spending a lot of time on these websites, but honestly, you're still maybe on the younger side, so you're okay. It's not terrible. No one can really notice anything from the outside. But what happens as time progresses, right? Okay, maybe you get a little bit older, then you get in a position where it's time for you to start having maybe relationships, right? You could have a partner here or there. And what happens is it destroys your confidence in relationships. And especially in terms of if you have any performance issues, again, that's obviously going to be a problem as well. And it almost roots up these different things, right? So at first, it's just, you're kind of messing around. Then relationships. Okay, so you have problems with relationships. And then especially when we talk about even having a family, leaving your legacy on earth, literally think about it. You're indulging in a habit that is, it's literally stopping you from leaving your legacy on this earth in the way that you would want to leave it. And especially with those performance issues that a lot of people tend to run into after you've been exposed to such crazy content on the internet, then what happens? You literally are in our position to where you can't get into a relationship because you can't perform, and then you're in this cycle where you keep relapsing. You have shame about it. You can't get out of this cycle, and you're stuck in the same place for a very long time, right? And it just gets worse because eventually, the partner, maybe the girl that you're attracted to, what happens? She finds someone else. She goes to someone else, and you literally end up being on the outside looking in to where, man, if I would have just got right, if I would have just had my habits on point, if I would have just changed or learned from my mistakes, I would have literally had the life that I wanted to, the partner that I wanted to, right? The success that I wanted to. But you literally are holding yourself back. And it's something that time you can never get back, right? And especially, right, if a girl finds another partner or something like that, and what if they get married? What if they have kids? Literally, that was someone that could have been your partner, potentially, right? Things don't always work out, but you're cutting off the opportunities that you even have. And as that time continues, it literally only gets more painful. Because when someone gets, okay, let's say you're in your 20s, boom, then your 30s, right? These are still problems that if you don't fix, you're literally, someone, and there are people out there, right, that you can get to a certain age to where you never fix this problem, and you just had these effects that keep destroying your life, right? So you have to keep in mind that the longer time period you take to solve this problem, literally the worse problems that you run into that could destroy your life, right? And the longer you stay stuck, the heavier the cost is. Number three, You're afraid to look in the mirror. Now, when we talk about, right, the time frame, I think it's one of the most difficult things to objectively look in the mirror and see the type of results that you have in this area, right? Because majority of people really haven't gone, more than a week, 2 weeks without relapsing, right? Without PMO, going on the websites, boom, and you're back to square one, right? Majority of people probably haven't gone past 2 weeks, right? And as someone who's gone, 100 plus days, right? 470 plus days cumulatively, and counting, it's still going up, right? What I've realized is that it's so difficult to just look at yourself and say, man, I spent so much time, obviously wasted, but I literally am stuck in the same place over and over again. I literally have made no progress. Like, it's so painful to literally just stare yourself in the mirror and look at yourself and say, I'm stuck. And it's been 5 years and I'm still stuck in the same place. Like, that is painful. And most people are not willing to do that. That's why I say it's so brutal, because we're literally talking about your life. This is not some game that you're playing. This is not something you're watching on TV. We're literally talking about you, right? And the results that you have in your own life. And when you're stuck, right, for those years in the same place, it's so painful. But it also can be a wake-up call for you, and also can be your motivation that, okay, I've been stuck in this same place, but I don't have to be, right? I don't have to be stuck like everyone else. I don't have to be in this position. I can get the type of results that I want, but I just need to take different actions to get those type of results. And if you're interested in getting step-by-step instructions around how I cured that corn-induced ED, went the 470 plus days, 100 plus day streaks, click my course in the description and in the pinned comments down below. I'll walk you step by step exactly what I did to get those results, so you can finally stop wasting time and reach your full potential. Number 4, willpower won't save you. Now, it may sound like a broken record, but that's because you need to hear it, and you probably still haven't changed, right? I say time and time again, willpower is not it. It's not it, right? And there's this ego that I keep talking about, I keep mentioning, that you have, that you think that you're just magically gonna figure it out, that you're just gonna, the solution is just gonna fall on your lap when you haven't even gone 2 weeks, right? 4 weeks, right? Without relapsing. What you need to realize is trying harder is not the solution, right? And as a man, we all have, testosterone. We think that we can just outmuscle everything, right? That, man, I don't need help. I don't need to invest in my education. I don't need some help from from anyone, right? And that's your ego that is holding you back, right? And when you have, right, these urges and you can't control them, right? And you still haven't figured out what that game plan for you is, right? You're literally just going in the dark. You're trying to figure out these different things, and you're wasting time, right? It's not even that, you're not searching for it, but it's the time that you waste looking for a solution, right? Because like I said, the longer that you have this problem, literally the worse that it gets for you. It literally, and you see all the people that even the content that they consume escalates, right? I'm not even going to dive deep into that, but you know what I mean if you're watching this, right? The severity of what they're watching even escalates. So you know that it just gets more and more just insane, right? With the type of dopamine that you need to get to that same sort of high, in a sense. And really what will allow you to get there, right, is the systems. It's not just strength or willpower, but proven systems that can actually help you save that time and trial and error and frustration. Because think about it, even if you have performance issues, man, how much trial and error do you actually want to go through, right? Do you want to be in that position to where, okay, you're with a partner and you can't make it happen, right? Or would you rather instead swallow your pride and ego and maybe learn from someone that has been in that position that you want to avoid, right? And has gone those type of streaks. So really keep that in mind, right? The willpower will not save you. You have to have alternative methods because it's only a finite resource. Number 5, secrecy is killing you. Now, I don't tell people that you need to share your problems with everyone. I think that's unrealistic, and a lot of times it won't even be helpful, just you telling everyone, right? But what you need to do is you need to have that one person, right, that you can actually talk to, 1, 2 people, whatever. It could be really close friends, whoever, just people who are close to you that you can actually open up and express kind of what you're going through, because having just opinions on the outside is definitely helpful. And especially, man, a lot of dudes deal with the same exact problems. Like, you're literally not as unique as you think you are, right? And probably a lot of the problems I faced, you also have faced as well if you're watching this video, right? But what happens is when you kind of keep things on the down low and you keep things secret, it just builds that shame within you, right? Because you don't have anyone to go to, and you're just stuck in that cycle of, oh man, I relapsed. A couple days later, oh man, I relapsed. Like, I feel bad about myself. This feels like I'm never gonna change, right? And you go through this cycle where you literally just can't figure it out. You can't put it together. You have no one to talk to. You're not socializing. You're just kind of in your own bubble, and that's so toxic for your overall recovery process, right? And just even getting in control of this habit. So you really want to avoid that secrecy, just because even one person that can hold you accountable, right? One person that can let you know, okay, man, just get up, keep it pushing, like keep fighting, all that. Just one person can be all the difference in terms of how you even perceive and view yourself, but also how you feel about your situation. Number 6, relapse doesn't reset you, shame does. Now, shame, again, when I was talking about that cycle, it tends to just grow more and more. And you feeling even worse about your position is literally what's holding you back. It's not even the actual relapse itself, right? Because when we think about how the brain works, right? If you look at someone, and I mentioned this before in terms of, right, timetables, you want to look at a long period of time. So when we look at a full year of time, and let's say you went from, okay, maybe 200 times to you reduced it to 100, or you reduced that number, that is literally progress, right? But a lot of times, with especially how nofap in certain movements, how they categorize it, is just you have to hit this day mark, and if you don't, once you relapse, everything resets. But your brain doesn't work like that, right? Because if you've gone a certain period of time and you've had less exposure to something, your brain rewires. And it literally, if you think about it logically, it doesn't make sense to say, I have one relapse and I've lost all progress. Like, that's not how your brain works, right? Sure, you're reawakening some of those circuits in your brain, but if you've gone for such a long period of time, the effects that one relapse will have is really not as bad on your brain, right? So really what's killing you here is just the shame in the lies that you tell yourself about, oh, I've lost all progress, right? So you really want to get out of that cycle of feeling bad for yourself and instead just say, okay, this happened. How can I improve, right? How can I take this as feedback and make my next move my best move? Number 7, quitting corn is just the beginning. Now, in this journey, right, you have goals. You have fitness goals, financial goals, relationship goals, right? The 3 areas: health, wealth, relationships, right? You have goals that you want to achieve. This is not the end all be all. This is a start to help you allocate some of that time, energy, and attention so that you can actually achieve those type of results that you want and reach your full potential, right? Because anyone watching this, you're not one of these people that just wants to be like everyone else. You have potential, and there are certain things that you want to achieve in your life. But with the bad habits, and that could be anything, right? Anything that's taking your time away that you might be addicted to, you have trouble kind of putting it down, right? It's having self-control is what we're really going for, and a life without vices, right? Because if you want to achieve a goal, you know that the time, energy, and attention you put into that goal is directly correlated to the outcome that you can achieve, right? And it's all about opportunity, right? This is an opportunity to reach your goal. And if you want to increase the likelihood of achieving that goal, you have to put in the work, but you have to use that time, energy, and attention effectively. So this is literally only the beginning, but it's such a pivotal stepping stone, because once you get to that point where you have the control, you know what works well for you, right? You've improved your relationships. You can check it off the box. Like, this is literally an area where you can say, man, I don't have to worry so much about this. I literally can look at my life in the mirror and say, I've made the progress that I wanted to make in this area. It's time to move on to the next. And if you enjoy learning about these type of topics, want to learn more, click the video on the screen now.